ask, Coolio, are you ready?
Big Rich Music.
I'm ready.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Ways to Better Living. And today, as you already see, the topic for this one will be a quick anyway to finish off the last episode, the final episode. There's few things that I did not bring up that I needed to mention, and so I'm doing this as a way of finishing up the final episode. So, and one of the issue is because the time I gave the update about if something that would happen, if that happened, that's what will instigate the closing of this. Well, that is still in the debate. That it's not confirmed yet, but still other things that's been involving that's in the episode that's finishing off why it's closing, that I give you all this detail. It all has to do with that. So I will not mention what that is, just for the fact that it hasn't happened yet, but at the same time that's still in the balance and juggling with that information. So, and the next point that I did not mention that I was going to bring to your attention is I'm not doing, like I said, I was taking that week off to work on myself and see where my next step is. And it come to be that my next step is to close the podcast because things that's going on, and chances are it's going to be difficult for me to even start doing the podcast and posting it. So I can fight things that's just not going right, and I'm not one that want to let people focus more on their gadgets. I'm doing this so you spend less time on your gadgets, and for me to do that, I have to close the podcast, which led me to a few of the ones that I've discussed that in the past podcast, and always following your heart, listen to your heart, go with the direction that's in your heart, since your heart will never lead you astray, and your heart is who you truly are, not your mind but your heart. And in doing so, for me to be able to help others is by me following my heart. And closing this podcast is something that my heart's been pushing me to do for a while, but I was still waiting for the opportune time, which is now. So these are the two things that I did not mention in the last podcast, finishing off, that I have to bring up to your attention and letting you see the importance of the podcast being closed for good. So, and by me saying closing the podcast, I'm not even going to be on the internet for a very long time. When I mean long time, like very long time, because as soon as I upload this, I get off, that's it. I'm not going to be online for a very long while. So I have to do what's best for me, and this is what's best for me. So with that said, I hope you all will benefit from all the information I've given. And also, this just brought attention to one thing. I know when I start the finishing podcast, I give you about my name, and one of these things that the name that they're still forcing me to go with, name that I don't recognize myself as. And for people who already know me, know I recognize my name to be D. Jones. And the only time I respond if someone need my attention is by using that name. Without that name, you're not getting any response from me or get me in conversation wise at all, because no one gave me life, so no one gonna tell me what name I should use or not use, or what my legal name is or not legal name. People go with that thought that I've already did an episode where I talk about that name wise, and that was the reason why, because of this. And I cannot be forced in using a name that I don't recognize for myself. So this led to many other topics, even with spiritual wise, where believing in God and all what they've been teaching you, that all get to tie with that as well. So I'm not going to go much in detail, but I'm just letting this part known, because I did not brought that up. When I give that, it's not for you to say, oh, I can use that name for. No, I don't recognize that name as my name. That is why D. Jones is my name. And this Coolio name I gave myself a while back. Use it for this podcast. Just a way to hide my identity a little bit, but not fully. So, with that said, as always, this is your host, and saying God bless and all the best to you.